Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Liv if you're new here, and in this video we're going to be talking about all the books I'm currently reading for the month of May and all the books that I still need to read for the month of May. As amazing as April was, my reading really struggled. I think I read 4 books. One of them I think was a graphic novel, and 1 or 2 I carried from March. So it has been an interesting past month of reading, and as you know, I went on a week-long trip, and it's really hard to just come back down to reality and get back into work right after a trip. Hence why I had to make myself a coffee, and will probably make a second one today because I am still on the struggle bus with the jet lag, but we're here to catch up for the month of May because I miss reading. Like I said, April was busy and I'm very much in the reading mood now. We have quite the big release month for the month of May. I feel like I'm going to be reading a lot of anticipated reads, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I also have a lot of other things that I really need to read. But before I start rambling for this entire video, let's just go ahead and start talking about my Patreon book club. So it's no surprise to me that you guys voted for Emily Henry's new book, Great Big Beautiful Life, which I am currently 275 pages in, so I think I have 125 left. And I will just say I had a hard time getting into this one for the first 100 pages, but I feel like once you get past that 100 pages, I feel like that's going to either make or break the book for you. And I can gladly say I'm fully invested now, but it did take a little while. So I am very excited to chat about this with my book club. If you don't know, I run a monthly book club through my Patreon that you can always check out in the description below. But this book is very different from a lot of Emily Henry's other books. We're following 2 journalists that are kind of like rivalists who are interviewing an older lady named Margaret, whose family is very famous. Something happened to where she fully just backed out of the media and she has not fully been able to tell her story. And so these 2 are kind of like fighting over Margaret a little bit, but of course there's some romance involved. I can definitely see why people are comparing this to Evelyn Hugo, but honestly I like this better than Evelyn Hugo. So if you're like me and you didn't like Evelyn Hugo, maybe you should give this one a chance. But regardless, we're going to be reading and discussing for my book club, and it's already off to a good start. So I am excited to see how this one ends. And then for my in-person book club for the month of May, I find it very funny that I used to own this book called No Two Persons, and I don't know why I ever sold it because it sounds absolutely amazing. It says 1 book, 9 readers, 10 changed lives. It's a gloriously original celebration of fiction and the way it deepens our lives. That was the beauty of books, wasn't it? They took you places you didn't know you needed to go. Alice has always wanted to be a writer. Her talent is innate, but her stories remain safe and detached until a devastating event breaks her heart open and she creates a stunning debut novel. I don't know who the other 8 people are that come into play or how her novel brings everyone together, but I'm very excited to see and find out. I think this is going to be a great book club discussion just from the very little I know about it. It is contemporary, but also who doesn't love books about books? Next, I have fallen a little bit behind on my Ember in the Ashes read-along over on Patreon. We were supposed to read a Reaper at the Gates in April and then finish off the series in the month of May, but because we're going to do like a big discussion at the end of the first week of June, I think I'm just going to read the last book the first week of June and then just take my time in May with this one. I mean, the title alone is already scaring me, and I don't know what's going to happen with the couple by the end. This honestly has been one of the most fun things that I've done with Patreon in a while, because even though this is a backlisted series, a lot of us haven't read it, and so we have been diving into it for the very first time, and we're just talking theories and just having all the emotions together, and it's been a really wild ride. I think we're actually going to go ahead and read Air together maybe in the month of July or sometime this summer, so if you do want to join us for that as well, you are more than welcome to. But no, it doesn't stop there, because we are also doing a Summer of Sara read-along. Most of you know that I have not actually finished the Throne of Glass series, and I feel like as someone that's a huge fantasy reader, that's just a crime at this point. So I'm not going to be starting at the very beginning again, because that would be my 3rd attempt trying to read Throne of Glass, and I just don't feel the need to do that. So I'm going to be picking up Air of Fire, which is where I left off. I'm probably going to be watching a bunch of recaps. I know a lot of my patrons and even a lot of you probably are stuck stuck in the middle of this series because it's so freaking massive, which is not a bad thing, but it is taking me a lot of motivation to finish this one, even though I know it's going to end up being like a favorite of all time series. For some reason, I just cannot get back into it. So I was like, you know what? We're going to do another Patreon read along. I've been talking about it for ages, but I really wanted this read along to be kind of like chill and read at your own pace. So while we do have a different segment or channel kind of to talk about each book, you definitely don't have to read one a month, and you definitely don't have to start here. You can start from the very beginning. This is a chunker, but I really miss Sarah's writing. We are going to be trying to tandem read Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms though. But I feel like I typically have a lot more time in the summer. I like to read outside, and so hopefully it's not going to be too much to read both of those. It is definitely an undertaking. I told myself I would finish the series before the end of the year, and if you're like me and you've been procrastinating, then you should definitely pick this up with us. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm in the middle of 3 books right now. One of them is Great Big Beautiful Life. These next 2 I'm going to talk about, but I am bringing them in from April, which is not my favorite thing to do. I am going to do a wrap up of March and April, but hopefully in May or the first week I will be able to wrap up a lot of these currently reading books. But one of them is Pictures of You by Emma Gray. This is a book that I have seen a lot of people rate and review on Goodreads all of a sudden, and my friend Jan Agaton also said this is like one of her favorite romances of all time now. And because of that reason, of course, I had to do my own digging and research and find out what the heck this book is. This book feels like Taylor Jenkins Reid, but without like all the lyrical metaphors and different things like that. We're following our main character Evie, who woke up in the hospital. Apparently she is, I think, 29 years old, but her brain is stuck at 16. She knows she's married, but she doesn't know who she's married to. So basically we're following her and kind of backtracking the gap or the 10-15 years of her life that she's missing. Personally, I love the missing memory trope. I know not a lot of people do, but this is dual point of view. It's Australian, but this book is so good, you guys. It's so captivating. It is giving me those feelings of reading a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. It is very summery, which is perfect for this time of year. I put this book on pause to read Emily Henry, but I'm gonna be honest, all I can think about is this book and these characters and what's gonna happen to them. I am a person that loves depth and heartache to my romance, and this is definitely giving that. So if you're looking for something summery that reads kind of like Taylor Jenkins Reid, or you're wanting to read a book to fill that Taylor Jenkins Reid gap until her new book comes out, I would definitely pick this one up and try it. And another book that I have been reading, I don't even remember when I started this, maybe the beginning of April, but it's Riley Sager's new book, With a Vengeance. I love reading a good mystery thriller on my Kindle because you just click and get through it so quickly, but the fact that I've been reading this for a month and I'm still only 50% probably says a lot about the book, unfortunately, and I feel like this book is not going to be for everyone. It is giving Murder on the Orient Express. It's a historical book, and it's very different from Riley Sager's other books. It still has familiar writing, but I just think because I read You Are Fatally Invited right before this one, and they're both kind of like those locked room mysteries, maybe I just overdid it with that specific genre of mystery thriller, but I am gonna get back to this. I am gonna review it. Just know it is wintry, and it's also very, very, very different from his other books, so I feel like this one's gonna be either a big hit or a big miss for a lot of people. I don't know, maybe I just wasn't in the mood for something historical, but we are going to finish this. Like I said, May is a huge anticipated releases month, especially for me, and the #1 book I cannot wait to get my hands on, it comes out in 2 days when I'm filming this, is Silver Elite. This book I've been hearing is like the next dystopian Hunger Games. Ever since I finished Sunrise on the Reaping, I've just been craving another dystopian. I even went back to rewatch Divergent. I need something that is giving those nostalgic Hunger Games vibes. I really don't know much about it at all. I'm just kind of trusting the early reviews with this one, but we're gonna take a gamble and we're gonna see how it is. I think it's supposed to be part of a trilogy or a series, but it also actually made a choice for book of the month, which also makes me very excited and gives me a lot of hope. So this book is definitely gonna be a priority for me this month, and I cannot wait to see what all of us think. Next, we have Night in the Moth, which I've had this arc for quite some time now, but I actually just got early access to the audio as well. This book, I read the first first page and I was like, whoa, this is going to be the gothic fantasy book of my dreams. I already know. I am so excited about this one. If I had had more time in the past month, I would have already binged this. A gothic mist-cloaked tale of a young prophetess who's forced on an impossible quest with the one devilishly handsome knight whose future is beyond her sight. I'm getting it in my fairy loot and I'm super excited to see what it looks like. I know a lot of us are going to be reading this one and oh my goodness, I just really hope that it holds up to the hype. Another book that I actually don't know when it comes out. I thought it came out near the end of May, but I actually found Frederick Bachman's book a little bit early. I know that's like kind of frowned upon, but when I was in California, my friend Elizabeth and I saw this and we were like, what? We have to get this. I've actually read quite a few of Frederick's books and I've really enjoyed every single one. They're always very hard hitting, but the way he describes humanity is like no other author that I've read from before. The world is full of miracles, but none greater than how far a young person can be carried by someone else's belief in them. Most people don't notice them. Three tiny figures sitting at the end of a long pier in the corner of one of the most famous paintings in the world. Most people think it's just a depiction of a wide expanse of sea, but Louisa, soon to be 18 years old and an aspiring artist herself, knows otherwise. She's determined to find out the story behind these three enigmatic figures. I love that we have art involved. It looks summery and there's friends. So I feel like this is going to be the perfect summer read for a lot of us. This may even be a future book club choice if I don't get to this. So if you're part of my Patreon, be on the lookout for that for sure. But this is also very high on my list because I've just been in the mood for easy contemporary reads lately. And then we also have Sarah Petter's new book, The Amalfi Curse. This is like a magical realism, historical pirate story, hidden treasure. There's sirens. It takes place in Italy. Like seriously, what more could you want in a summer read? This Barnes & Noble edition is also just absolutely stunning. Like, I'm completely blown away by this book. I wasn't the biggest fan of her previous book, London Seance Society, but this book I feel like is the perfect formula for me to give it 5 stars. For whatever reason, I kept thinking that this was young adult, but it's actually adult. And yeah, I don't know, there's just everything in this to love. We have romance as well, and on the coast of Italy. This sounds absolutely perfect. Well, as you can see, my TBR back here is already looking pretty hefty. I have not read a big chunky fantasy book in quite some time, so that's already going to be a huge feat for me to undertake. But you guys know my favorite part of these TBRs is picking a prompt that you gave me and picking a book to fulfill that prompt. So if you're new here, I typically pick out 5 prompts, but I think we're just going to pick out 3 for this month because I really want to read every single one of these books back here, and these are just going to be essentially my mood reading books. Like if I don't feel like reading one of these or I want to read something different in between, that's kind of what this jar is used for. So let's go ahead and pick our number 1. Pick a book from its 5-star review. So I think I'm gonna do a little bit of cheating here. I realize that's not the point of this TBR jar, but every once in a while I like to make it easy on myself. I think I'm actually gonna go with Pictures of You, mainly because I kept seeing 5-star reviews on Goodreads, as well as my friend Jan said that this book was amazing. It was 5 stars. So I feel like this one just has to be the obvious choice. I'm in the middle of it and I know I'm definitely gonna finish it. We're gonna make my life easier and we're gonna go with Pictures of You. Going in for number 2, let's see what we have. Friends to lovers trope. Ooh, there's so many fantasy. Also, I don't have like a rom-com in there yet, so I'm gonna go see what I can find. Okay, well there are so many friends to lovers books out there, it's kind of hard to decipher if like the main characters are friends to lovers or if they're enemies to lovers just from the synopsis of some books. So I might be stretching this one a little bit, but it's fine. We're just gonna go with it. I've actually been really wanting to read more Sarah Adams books because I haven't read a lot of her backlist, so I decided to choose The Off Limits Rule. I think this was one of her very first books actually. I even still have the indie copy. What I do know about this one is this is about a brother and sister, and the sister moves in with the brother and she ends up having a crush on her brother's best friend. So I mean, we have best friend to lover kind of in the mix there, but I think we are just gonna run with this one because it does feel like best friends to lovers in a way. Okay, last but not least, let's make it a good one. I kind of hope that this is like pick one of your latest purchase books because I've gotten so many good books lately. I really need to do a book haul for you guys, but We have prettiest book on your shelves. Ooh, I have gotten some really good fairy loots lately. So this is one of the newer books that I've gotten recently, but I was like, what could I do that would either finish a series? So I thought of doing Where the Library Hides. That edition is so beautiful. But also I was like, what could I choose that's kind of summery or springy and also really short? And then I remembered I finally got from Fairy Loot Kiki's delivery service. I don't know if you guys remember, but I got the Fairy Loot of Howl's Moving Castle and it is absolutely stunning. This one is so impressive though, because I don't know if you can see this. The whole cover is basically on this little tiny part of the sprayed edges. I am obsessed with this. I love that the clouds are on the end papers, but this is probably my favorite part of the book, okay? Look at this gold foiled night scene. Is that not the prettiest thing you have ever seen? Kiki's was one of the very first Studio Ghibli movies that I ever saw, so I encourage you to watch it if you've never watched it before. But I feel like this is just going to be the perfect weekend or Saturday book where I watch the movie, read the book, and then I can just kind of like compare the two. And the movie itself gives me the biggest serotonin boost, and I know the book itself is going to do that. It's basically just about a little girl who's a witch, and she moves to the seaside town and does all of these errands and everything for all the townspeople. It's so sweet and heartwarming and cute. She has a little cat named Gigi who rides with her everywhere, and he has the cutest, biggest personality. I cannot wait to read this because I cannot believe I haven't read it yet. Like, I love the movie so incredibly much. Alright friends, well, let's hope May is going to be a better reading month than April was, because there are so many good releases coming out. I still have Silver Elite I haven't even added to this stack yet, and I think we're even getting a new Carly Fortune. There is just so many great books coming out in May that I'm going to be continuing to read throughout this summer. So if I don't get to all of these, you will probably see them in some of my upcoming TBRs. But regardless, I'm just so excited for each and every one of these. My rating, or my overall rating of the books that I've read so far this year, I think I've read 28 books out of the 50 that I'm attempting to read, which is actually a pretty small amount for me. But out of the 28, I have a 4.3 average rating, and that is huge. Like, I can't think of a single book that I've hated so far, and I really hope to keep that good streak going with a lot of these books. Thank you so much for bearing with me while I take a break, and I'm very excited to dive back into filming again. I hope you guys are doing well. You will have a trip vlog coming to you very, very soon. But in the meantime, I hope your May reading is going well. I have a lot to catch up on myself. But thank you so much for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you next time.